Oh wait, so can you see me? Can you go to the thing?
Not yet.
God. Go.
Oh.
Am I there?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yay.
It's a bit of a delay.
Oh, crap. Look at that. So it says I have 0 viewers, though. We were just like ahead. Oh, I have 2 viewers. So if you're here, I'm just waiting for more people to sign in. A couple people are confused. Oh, how am I supposed to know if people can hear me? Where's the chat? So if you can hear me and you're listening, can you do me a favor and just chat something in the little chat log just so I can tell people can hear me? Oh, that's a good idea. Can you hear anything? You can hear me? Okay. Just. So if you can hear me, I'm just going to wait a couple more minutes for people to log in, because right now it says 9 viewers, and I think there's supposed to be a few more. You're live right now, okay. What happened? Okay, nobody's talking in the chat. Some people are worried that I can see them. I can't. I can only see myself. How long should I wait? I wish I could tell. I feel like I should do a little dance or something in the meantime.
Very sexy.
I have cat entertainment. Alright. So I'm gonna wait 2 more minutes. Can somebody chat with me while I'm waiting? Can you find the chat? Go. Oh, go to the little. Oh, I don't see that. I wonder why I can't see that. What is it? I can't see that. Oh, wow.
I see people said stuff.
People are talking to me on chat, but I can't see it. Oh, it's under the questions. Sorry, this is the first time I'm doing this. Okay. Oh. Nice. Okay. Oh, so that. So people are talking to me on the question thing, not the chat. Ooh. Okay, so should I start? All right, so I'm just gonna start because it's 8:06 and I don't feel like just looking at myself for an hour here. So I'm not sure who quite is watching, but my name is Megan. I'm a naturopathic medical student. I'll be graduating in a couple of weeks. I'll be graduating with a doctorate in naturopathic medicine. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, it's basically like being a primary care doctor, but having a few more tools. We use a lot of diet, exercise, herbs, nutrition to treat the whole person, and we also like to find the root cause. A huge modality for naturopathic medicine is diet. And the one diet that I find is most successful and the most comprehensive is the blood type diet. And I think there's a lot of evidence and science to back up the blood type diet. So I decided to do my talk on that. You know, as a naturopathic student, we're exposed to a lot of diets, and I find that this is the most successful. So what I'm going to actually do is I have a PowerPoint prepared for this, so I'm going to switch my screen so that you guys can see my screen, and then you can actually watch the PowerPoint as I talk. And then I'm going to have my roommate actually look for any questions that you guys have. Feel free to use that app to ask questions. I'll try to answer them as they come up. There's a little bit of a delay, so I might not see the question right away, but I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability. So I'm going to switch the screen now. Can you turn that off? I can hear it. Okay, present. Alright, what did I do? Can you see it now? Okay. Great. You there?
It's a bit of a delay.
Okay. Alright, so I'm going to start. So already introduced myself. Next page. So these are the basics to what a blood type is. Most of us know our blood types. We know them in reference to blood transfusions. If you're a blood type A, you have A antigen on your red blood cell. If you're a type B, you have B, AB, and so on. And if you're O, you have no antigens. And then if you're an A, you produce B antibodies, which attacks the B antigen, and vice versa for B. And AB is a little different in that it has both antigens, no antibodies, and type O, which has no antigens and all the antibodies. Mute yourself. Can you mute that? So what do blood types do? So as Dr. D'Adamo would put it, blood types do way more than just screw up transfusions. It turns out that we actually secrete our blood type in more than just our blood. We secrete our blood type in our digestive tract. And the blood type antigen actually confers protection against microbes, infections. It has to do with protein production, and it can actually have a role in the microbiome, or simply put, the bacteria that live in your body, and can also have a role in cancer. So if you were to look at the blood type antigen on a molecular level, you can probably see my mouse here. So every blood type antigen has the same molecular structure as pictured here. What differs is the last molecule here. And as you can see, blood type O lacks a molecule at the end. Blood type A has this gray one here, which is N-acetylgalactosamine. The B antigen has this blue one here, which is galactose. And why it's not super important to know the names and whatnot, but it's important to understand that this molecule at the end is what's going to interact with food in the digestive tract. And that's what the basis of the blood type diet is. So, so just diving in right into the blood type profiles, blood type O's originated during the Cro-Magnon period of hunters and gatherers. It's the oldest blood type. It's the most historical of all the blood types. It's the first one that scientists think existed. So if you think back to what cavemen would typically eat, they would eat a lot of meat and whatever was growing on the ground. So their diet did not consist of wheat. It didn't consist of grains. They mostly had to hunt for their food. So this is going to really impact what blood type O's should eat in modern day. Blood type A's evolved and thrived during times of agricultural expansion. So when people learned how to farm and grow crops, this is when blood type A really flourished, because it turns out that blood type A's actually have more capacity to break down wheat products. And during this time period, a lot of urbanization was going on. And if you could picture early urbanization, this is when epidemic diseases were happening, and if you were a blood type A, actually, you were able to survive some of these or have more resistance to these diseases, and thus that gene was passed on. So blood type B's appeared during the end of the Neolithic time period. So early studies of the distribution of where blood type Bs originate actually are in pretty harsh environments, either high altitudes or very harsh temperatures. So what this really says about blood type Bs is they're very resilient. And another fact about blood type Bs is that early Mongolians were actually, a lot of them were blood type B. And this is when they learned how to culture milk products. They were the first to do this. And as it turns out, blood type Bs do well on dairy products. Now, AB is actually more of a result of the intermingling of the blood types rather than an evolutionary benefit. They have characteristics of A and B, and it's the newest and least common blood type. Okay, so when did people actually start blood typing, and when did blood type diet actually, when was it created? So William Boyd, he's considered one of the pioneers in blood typing. He basically used blood typing for anthropological studies. He coined the term lectin, which in Latin means to pick or choose. And he described this reaction that he saw when he mixed lima bean protein with all different blood types, but only in blood type A did he see this clumping reaction, and that's when he described what a lectin was. And nowadays we know that lectins are basically the basis of blood type diet. When we eat certain lectins that interact with our blood type, it causes that same clumping reaction. And when that clumping reaction happens in the digestive tract, it can actually enter systemic circulation and end up in other parts of the body, and thus causing symptoms beyond the GI tract. And then further down in time, Dr. James D'Adamo, he came up with the blood type diet based on observation. He noticed that a lot of his patients, some patients did well on vegetarian diets, whereas some patients didn't do well. He also noticed that certain exercises people did really well with. They really benefited and lost weight when they would sprint, but others weren't. And then after some time, he realized that the differences between these groups of people were blood type. And then later in time, his son, Dr. Peter D'Adamo, who's my teacher now, expanded on this and backed up his father's findings with research and science, and he really honed in on the lectin theory. So going into some of the traits of each blood type, so I'm going to start with type O. Basically, the blood type O profile is set up to break down protein. They do the best with high protein diets. They actually have higher levels of enzymes that break down protein. They also have higher acidic output in the stomach, so that even further supports a high protein diet. Blood type O's also have more enzymes that have to do with adrenaline. This enzyme is called dopamine beta hydroxylase, which basically means that blood type O's burn through dopamine, which is a feel-good calming hormone, and it converts into catecholamines, which are your adrenaline or fight-or-flight hormones. So thus, a lot of type O's, when they're imbalanced, will have a lot of anxiety, and they're just super sensitive to their environment. They can really have more of an anxiety type picture. I'm just going to check. Are there any questions? Okay. All right, so blood type A. So there's actually two variants of blood type A, A1 and A2. So as I kind of mentioned earlier, blood type A's thrived with a lot of agriculture. So they actually have more digestive capability of breaking down carbohydrates more than protein. And as it turns out, unlike type O, type A's actually have less stomach acid output, so they really can't break down the protein as well as an O does. There's been actually a lot of studies lately that blood type A's have a higher cardiovascular risk. Well, a part of this is actually because they have more clotting factors, just genetically. This has to do with where the gene for producing these clotting factors is located. It's located near the blood type A gene. So they also have higher levels of cholesterol and LDL. And when blood type A's are stressed, they have more cortisol. So unlike a type O who has more adrenaline, type A's have more cortisol, which is a stress hormone. So this is why they do well with cortisol-lowering activities like yoga or meditation. So blood type A's also have greater susceptibility to cancer. So it actually turns out that a lot of cancer antigens look like the A antigen. So if there's something in the body that looks like yourself, you're not going to get rid of it. The immune system doesn't know the difference between self and the cancer, so it doesn't get rid of the cancer cells. So blood type B's, if you remember from the other slide, are very resilient. They were the survivors. They were the original survivors that could really withstand the harsh conditions and reproduce, even though they were living at super high altitudes or living in very cold climates. So they're very resilient, and they actually are they tend to be the most physically fit of all the blood types, and they're the most mentally balanced, but that's only if they really adhere to the blood type diet and lifestyle. Very resilient people. And they're the tallest of all the blood types. Now, AB blood types are really going to have traits of both A and B. So they'll have the low stomach acid like an A, but they'll also have the resilience of a B. But unlike A and B, they do tend to have more adrenaline like type O's. Okay, so the connection between diet and blood type. So as I mentioned earlier, we actually secrete our blood type in our gut. We secrete it in our intestines. So anything that you eat will come in contact with your blood type. So if you eat something, if I'm an A and I eat something that looks like a B, then my body is going to have a reaction. It's going to have that agglutinating reaction, which I'm going to show you a visual of that in the next slide. But in essence, what this is going to cause is a low-grade type of inflammatory reaction. Your immune system sees it and wants to get rid of it, and in that process, it produces a lot of immune cells that can actually destroy our own tissue. I kind of alluded to this already, but when we actually test people for what blood type that they are, we use something that looks like this. It's a little card that has these 4 circles. We use a reagent, and we drop the person's blood on each circle. So if I am a blood type A, for instance, and there's anti-A reagent on the square, or for instance something that is like a B antigen, and you mix it with the A, what happens is this clumping reaction of my red blood cells. So that's literally what it looks like, that your blood is literally clumping and sticking together. So this is a nice little diagram here of what happens inside the cells. So this is like a microscopic picture of the gut. So I'm going to use my pointer here again. So these are the lectins from food. Your blood type antigen is being secreted through all these little villi in the intestinal wall. So it's going to come in contact. When it does, it destroys the enterocyte, which is just a word for the intestinal cell. The immune system, which naturally resides in the intestinal tract, which is down here, are going to see this lectin and the agglutination and attack it. So once this happens, immune cells such as cytokines, antibodies, they take this clumped molecule of the blood type antigen and the lectin, and they want to get rid of it, so they send it out into the blood. And once it's in the blood, it can go anywhere in the body. So some of the symptoms you can feel when you're eating things that cause this reaction are anything from bloating, flatulence, any changes in bowel habits, so diarrhea, constipation, but beyond the GI tract, it can cause achy joints and muscles, some hormonal fluctuations, and it's actually interesting, the hormonal aspect of this, because that immune complex that can be formed from that lectin in your blood type antigen actually can mimic other hormones in the body. So if it looks like an estrogen, it can bind to an estrogen receptor, turn that cell on, and then turn off your own body's production of that hormone. So you can actually see a lot of hormonal dysregulation from eating the wrong blood type diet. Other symptoms you might feel, some skin eruptions, acne, rashes, eczema, psoriasis, and then your typical food sensitivity symptoms, so like fatigue, tiredness, or especially important, inability to lose weight. A lot of people who start their blood type diet, whether it's just because they want to be healthier or they're treating a condition, a lot of times get to their optimal body weight, whether that's gaining weight or losing it, but they tend to be the body type that their optimal body type is. So to get into the details of the diet, this is the blood type A diet. So basically, and this is only a summary, you can definitely get more information about these diets, but in essence, a blood type A diet is mostly vegetarian. It's all vegetables without the nightshades. So nightshade vegetables are things such as tomatoes, eggplants, peppers, potatoes. Nightshade vegetables actually have a lot of lectins in it, which is why people who have inflammatory diseases such as arthritis really shouldn't eat nightshades regardless of blood type, because there's a lot of agglutination that happens systemically because of it. Some other beneficial foods for blood type A include legumes, peanuts, healthy grains, quinoa, brown rice, wheat, and barley. Their protein sources are best if they're things like turkey or fish. And the type of exercise that a blood type A should do are the cortisol lowering exercises, so yoga, Pilates, meditation. All great things for blood type A. And then, of course, their avoids are going to be the red meats, the nightshade vegetables, and dairy. So the blood type O diet is most similar to a paleo-like diet. So if you remember from the beginning, the blood type O's were originally the cavemen. They were the people who were hunting for their food. So actually a really good beneficial for a blood type O is red meat. Other things like fish, turkey, chicken, eggs, just so much protein for these people because they can break it down. They utilize it. They need it. Green leafy vegetables, awesome for blood type O. The only bean types that they can have are adzuki and black-eyed peas. And because blood type O's have that extra adrenaline, strenuous exercise is great for blood type O's so that they can get rid of that extra fight or flight type of hormones from their body. A big avoid for blood type O is all wheat products, and definitely dairy, and then the legumes. So you can actually kind of think of blood type O diet as being the opposite of a blood type A. Blood type B diet, you can think of that as an omnivorous diet. So they actually are the only blood type that does well on dairy products. This is because they're that molecule from the beginning of the slides, the blood type antigen, actually looks like a milk product. It's galactose, which is actually a sugar found in milk. So if you think about differences in the antigen and what you're exposed to, if something looks like you're not going to attack it. You're going to actually be okay and not have that inflammatory response. Is there a question? Okay. The big thing for blood type B is that they really need to avoid chicken. That's a really strong reaction for blood type Bs. So if I could choose one thing for a blood type B, it would be definitely avoiding that chicken. Other things they should avoid: corn, wheat, lentils, and tomatoes. And since blood type Bs, they tend to be the most balanced. If they follow their diet, they actually lose a lot of weight if they're overweight. So blood type AB, which is the least common blood type, they're going to benefit from a combo diet. They have characteristics of A and B. So the key to an AB diet is really eating a lot of variety and eating a lot of different things. So anything from tofu, dairy, green vegetables, and combining the type of exercises they do. The big avoids are going to be red meat, caffeine, and alcohol. All right, so I know I didn't go into a whole lot of detail, but you can definitely use these sources if you want to do this diet, but you're not quite sure what to eat. You can use this website. So if you want to know, oh, I'm gonna cook. Let's pick. I'm gonna cook frog tonight. Let's see. So if you're a blood type A, that's an avoid for you. And then if you're a blood type B, also an avoid. So basically nobody should be eating frogs. But let's see something more realistic here. Cheeses. So you have all your basic whole foods here. So cashews. Blood type A, avoid. Blood type B, avoid. AB, neutral. Oh, no one should eat cashews either. Flax seeds. All right, here we go. So here's for blood type A, it's beneficial. Blood type B, neutral, which neutral just means it's neither medicinal, but it's not poison either. So it's okay to eat neutral foods, but you really want to put the most emphasis on the beneficial, because they're actually it's going to be like food as medicine. The food you're eating is actually going to help you generate the most health. And then another website you can use is this one, and this is all on Dr. D'Adamo's website. This is a recipe generator. So the biggest complaint I think I get from patients is that they don't know what to eat. They're stumped. You tell them don't eat wheat, but then they have no idea what to eat. So the beauty about blood type diet is you have so many options. We're not really taking away a lot. We put more emphasis on what you can eat. So using this website, you can really look into each blood type. So if you're an A, you can go into here, and you actually have recipes for each type of meal that you can have. Appetizers, baked goods, everything. It's just a really great option if you don't know what to cook. And this is all free. This is all on Dr. D'Adamo's website. Now another thing you might notice about his website here is he has A non, B non, O non, and AB non. So that basically what that means is non-secretor. That's just another genetic thing you can have, basically. It just means, do you secrete your blood type strongly or do you not secrete your blood type strongly? And that's actually going to change the profile of your diet. But finding that out requires a blood test. You can't really, it's not going to be in traditional blood testing. So that's about it.
Do you have one question?
I'm just going to see if there's questions. Are there questions? Are you going to make the PowerPoint available? Yeah, I mean, I can send it. I can send the PowerPoint. I can do like a Google share if you want to leave your email on like the little chat thing or on the main website. So, are there any other questions? Okay, I know there's a delay, so I'm just gonna wait. So I'd love to like chat about this more, but it's actually a little easier to talk if people have questions. Oh, the weather. Hmm. If you're positive or negative, does it change? Oh, RH positive or negative. No, it doesn't really affect anything, actually. That has more to do with, as you know, Mike, with having children. What's my blood type? Oh, I probably should have put my own personal experience with blood type. I'm blood type A, and if my mom and dad are listening, they know that when I was a child, I would never eat meat. So I think inherently, like, I knew that eating meat didn't agree with my body, and so I kind of followed my blood type diet just instinctively, and then once I actually found out the details of my blood type, diet, I followed it more intently. But when I talk to a lot of people and they tell me what their blood type is, it's kind of like I can predict it, because a lot of blood type O's will tell me like, oh, I need that steak to feel good. Like, I know it's bad for me, but I don't want to eat it. But like, a steak is actually really good for a blood type O. Like, contrary to, a lot of belief that red meat is bad, well, for a blood type O, it's really not that bad. I mean, granted, you don't want to eat it for your meal every day, but for those blood types, they actually benefit from high protein. Is it okay to have a cheat day with something you can't eat? Yeah, definitely. I always tell people to use common sense. So, like, if they're like worried about a vegetable, like for instance, if I'm a type A and I'm trying to choose between a tomato or a bowl of ice cream, it's like, yeah, like, eat the tomato. But also, we always look for like an 80% compliance with the diet. At first, you might want to be, especially depending on how sick the individual is or how much weight needs to come off or whatever it is. If you want more results, follow the diet more strictly. And especially in the beginning, like if you're looking to lose like 50 pounds or something like that, you might want to follow it more strictly. But in general, for like a general health maintenance, an 80% compliance is usually the standard that we tell people, and we'll still see good results with 80% compliance. Have I found successes with this diet so far? Yeah, I've seen some pretty amazing things with people who have followed this diet for a long time. I actually see patients with Dr. D'Adamo, and he has patients that have been seeing him for 30 years plus, and there are people who come in with great stories. Like, there was a woman who had really bad ulcerative colitis, and if you're not familiar with what that is, it's basically having chronic diarrhea with blood. Basically, your colon just gets destroyed, and it's a very, very hard disease to have. I mean, it's going to alter your daily life. It's going to really interfere with a lot of things, and it's very heartbreaking for some people. And this woman went on her blood type diet, and she's been in remission for years. A lot of people with intestinal diseases tend to do really well on blood type diet. I had another woman I was seeing with actually ulcerative colitis. That's weird, but she's a blood type O, and she, even though a lot of people were telling her like, oh, don't eat meat, don't do this, she actually ended up having less bouts of the colitis when she would eat her blood type diet. I'm trying to think of other cases. I've had a lot of people tell me that they lose weight as a consequence of the blood type diet. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people just feel good. I know me personally, I follow the diet, and I feel great. Like, I used to have a lot of like intestinal upset. I was never diagnosed with anything, but myself personally, like, I had a lot of bloating, just very upset stomach, nausea, and I really noticed that when I switched to the blood type diet, I don't have that anymore. Like, my belly, I'm not overweight by any means, but like, I would just feel that in my stomach, like a bloating, like, full feeling, and I haven't had it in probably years, unless I ate something really strange, but it was a very chronic thing for me, and it basically went away when I really honed in on my blood type diet. Okay, Crystal says, what about herbs, fruits, and vegetables? Oh, okay. So that's another thing about blood type. I probably should have said a lot of herbs and nutrients are very specific to blood type 2, which is probably why, like, if you were really really particular about blood type specifics, it's good to see somebody who's really knowledgeable in the subject. Off the top of my head, I can think of a few things. For blood type O specifically, they do well on an herb called rhodiola. It's an herb. It's a type of adaptogenic herb that that helps the adrenal glands. It helps with stress and depression and anxiety, and they actually do really well on it. And other things that, based on the characteristics of a blood type O, because they produce more adrenaline, you can kind of, like, if a blood type O comes into your office and they have a high anxiety, you want to support that dopamine. You want to basically target the catecholamines instead of cortisol. Whereas with a type A, and they come in and they're stressed, you can look at cortisol lowering herbs, because you know as a blood type A, they're going to have more cortisol. But there are a lot of other things that correlate to blood type and supplements, which is why Dr. Giordano actually has his own line of supplements based on blood types. For instance, he has a probiotic that's specific for blood types. So actually, every blood type has different flora in the gut. So based on the blood type, you want to give it the right flora. So he has his own probiotics. He actually has a product called Deflect, which actually deflects the wrong lectins. So if you know you're a blood type O and you're about to eat a bowl of pasta, you actually take this product to deflect the wheat lectins, and which is actually good for, you know, that whole compliance thing. Someone was asking, what if I have a cheat day? A good option is to take this supplement. Basically, they're nutrients that help block that lectin reaction. You know what, I'm going to put it back on camera. Oh wait, I don't know where I went. Okay, so it's back to me. What's the last question? If you're going to eat a form of sugar, what kind does the blood type diet recommend? Sugar is pretty much an avoid for all the blood types. Sugar is kind of poison. I don't really think anyone should be eating a whole lot of sugar. I would definitely say it's not beneficial to anyone. But yeah, I really think sugar is a problem in most American diets. I think it's just good to avoid it in general. Do you know any sources that suggest recipes or food if you're cooking for a group of people? Oh yes, that's another really cool thing on that website. You can actually combine. Oh my God, my hair is sticking up. You can combine the blood types. Then it generates recipes that are good for B and O. It's really cool. But yeah, I think that's a really good feature if you have a family or a spouse or something and you want to be able to eat things that you both can have. What else? Okay, I think that might be all the questions. I'm just going through it. I can finally see your questions now. Trying to think of more stories. Definitely see a lot of patients at Dr. Diadamo's office who have been following this diet who are just thriving. They're like in their 80s and they look like they're like 50, and they have their wit, they have their mind, they're like in shape. Really, really amazing stuff that I see over there. Alright, so any other questions? Oh. My sister asked what her blood type was. Christine, you're an A. My mom couldn't get on. That stinks. Alright, so any other questions before I sign off? Also, thank you for taking the time to listen to my spiel on blood type. I love blood type diet. You can ask anyone that knows me. I use it for like all my patients. I think the beauty of it is that you can modify it, but using it as like a foundation to almost any diet, I just think it's a great tool to use. Okay. Any last questions? All right, so thank you again. I hope you guys learned something. If you have any more questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always willing to give a piece of my mind on the blood type diet or anything in general. I love what I do. It's a passion. I'm really excited to practice. Yeah, I love it. So I always am willing to talk about things if anyone has questions. So I'm gonna sign off. Thanks again, and maybe I'll do this again. All right. Thank you. Bye.